All right, YouTube, David Rockefeller has finally died. He was 101 years old. Now, they're listing him as, philanthropist and all these things. Yeah, not really. Just part of the same corrupt globalists as all the others. My level of respect for people like that is fairly low. So I'm not upset that he's dead, let's just say. Didn't that dude, wasn't it specifically David Rockefeller, the one that just died? Didn't he have like 4 or 5 different hearts beating in his chest at different times? He kept getting surgeries like, the elder Dick Cheney or something like that. Why were they even keeping the old fool alive? They call him a philanthropist. Really what he represents is this sort of NWO mentality of sorts. Not to delve into the conspiracy theory side, but these are the sort of people where in public they'll present a happy, smiling face. Oh, here, I gave $1,000 to these orphans. And really, they've got some ulterior motive. It's either driven by profit directly. That is, I can, my name, my brand, or directly in a form of return, I can profit off of this venture. It's like a sort of a weird sort of investment with a smiley face on it into human misery. Now, or they design things that profit them long term. At first, it seems like a net loss, but it truly isn't. It's like giving free food and medicine to parts of sub-Saharan Africa. It just keeps them more impoverished. It allows them to continue with extremely low starvation level wages in their diamond mines and stuff like that all of these people have interest in directly or indirectly. And so they keep them reliant on foreign food so they never develop agriculture. They keep them reliant on foreign infrastructure development so they never build their own roads and rails. They keep them reliant upon foreign medical services so they never have a domestic medical complex, and it keeps them poor, it keeps them enslaved. And they've been doing this for years. It's even spoken of within science. Even within anthropology, if you've never studied these fields, you probably don't realize that a hell of a lot of academics, including the really left-leaning ones, they despise the very idea of giving like food aid to Africa because it's actually keeping people poor and miserable and causing famines because the local farmers, they can't compete with free, so why bother to be a farmer? Why bother to grow food? Why bother to train and be a doctor in Africa when foreign doctors will come in with all sorts of government grants and international subsidies, and they'll treat people for their sickness, and you'll never have a modern medical infrastructure. Why bother clearing a road when you can rely on some foreign state to do it for you, and you can't compete with the price offered, which is essentially free? Oh yeah, by the way, occasionally we might send a military convoy across it, so that'll be part of the agreement. There's no way to compete with it. People like David Rockefeller are not philanthropists. They know full well what they're doing. It's a calculated effort. The peanuts that they give out to something that actually develops humanity, to something that actually benefits people, almost always has the reverse effect long term. It's almost always an attempt to keep some group of people poor and reliant upon outside sources for their medicine or for their food. He's not a philanthropist. He's just a globalist. That is, that he chose the path of slapping a smiley face on his corruption, passing it off as though it were philanthropy, all the while trying to prop up the corporate media, being part of the attacks on free speech online, being part of attacks on free expression, propping up globalist political endeavors, suppressing third parties, whether they're left or right, it doesn't really make a difference. And this is the sort of lunatic that we're dealing with. These are the true psychopaths of our era. Extremely rich people that get a pass from a lot of folks that really should hate their fucking guts. And they get a pass because they pretend to be humanitarians. They pretend to be philanthropists. So I'm not a fan of the Rockefellers or the George Soroses of the world and all of these others. The Clinton Foundation. Oh, we're doing such good work in Haiti alongside the Red Cross or all these things. We didn't build anything. We didn't actually do anything of value except keep people poor and operate, sex slave rings. But look at us. We're such good humanitarians on paper. That's essentially how these people function. If you really had all these billionaires and multi-billionaire philanthropists, and they really were trying to help the world and not screw anybody, the world certainly wouldn't look like it does today. Would there be such wide-reaching poverty and lack of development in some areas, while there are constant attacks on modernity and civilization where it already exists? Would they constantly stir the pot of trouble against upstart movements that seek to reform the same sorts of things that they themselves crafted? No, they wouldn't. The world would be a pretty cool place to live in if they actually were trying to help people. But they're not interested in that. They're not interested in developing these third world places that they claim to love so much. They just give them free shit. Trademark Bernie Sanders 2016. They give them free shit and suppress local businesses. And then they support mass immigration. They give these third world countries brain drain while they pump the West full of unskilled laborers who just lead to more social alienation. That's their idea of philanthropy. By the way, they give 0.1% of their yearly income to some leukemia ward somewhere, and they say it's some great thing, while they're causing more disease and more conflicts and more problems everywhere else in the world. That's not philanthropy. It's not being part of humanity. It's not being generous. It's not donating your time and your resources and caring for your fellow man. It's just a cloak for their own money grubbing and corruption. That's essentially what it boils down to. So I'm glad Rockefeller's gone. Hopefully George Soros kicks off pretty soon. These people, they always seem to make it at least into their 90s. Like, it's a rare day when they die when they're 89. Usually they're 90, 95 years old. Rockefeller, 101. How the hell, after so many heart surgeries, because his heart keeps giving out because it turns to stone in his chest, how long do you keep these people alive, and why? What's the point? Don't they have some equally corrupt, 70-year-old, nice, young, spry heir that can keep up with their corruption? Why do you have to keep David Rockefeller's heart beating for 30 years? His own organs are telling you, okay, it's time to let go. It's time to let somebody else screw the world for a change. And they just wouldn't let him die. Finally, are they going to put him in like a cryogenic state? Are they going to hack his head off, slap it on a computer, and keep it like half frozen so he can keep communicating with the world through some sort of AI technology? Is he going to become the Singularity or something? Now, half of me expects that. Maybe it'll be George Soros probably that ends up in that position. Then he'll start lamenting his own fate. Oh, I can't feel my fingers. You don't have fingers. I can't feel my toes. You don't have those either. Oh, help me, I'm in hell. Now we're going to keep you in this state for a couple hundred years. You can keep being corrupt. He'll just get more and more bitter and increasingly insane over time. And that's going to be quite an accomplishment considering how nuts he already is. That's about all. Peace out.